It's Chad. How's everybody doing? It's Sunday night, and tonight we're gonna talk toys, but more specifically, we're gonna talk about independent creators and how a lot of us have always been saying for the past several years, fans do the best work. Now, the big two, they just kind of rely on nostalgia and they don't want to do anything new. They want to keep it safe. But you got a lot of fans out there who are making great new lines. And tonight we're going to focus on one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in Chad from Undead Operator and Craig from ZICA Toys. And we are going to talk Easy Kill 9. What's up, gentlemen? How you doing?
Hey, Chad. What's going on, buddy?
Hey,
Two
what's
Chads
up,
on a
dude?
stream. It's going to be extra, dude.
Oh, God, it is, man. I know the world might come to an end. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing great. Doing good. Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, thanks for being here. So in the chat, we got Cutthroat Comics. We got Mango Dogwood, Beta Ray Bob's here, World Made of Cardboard. Mo's here. What's up, Mo? TJC's in the house all the way from the UK. And then, yeah, 2 out of 3 Chads plus 1 Chad. Very cool. Jeremy Jernigan's here. What's up, Ghost Daddy? Good to see you. Glad you're here. And yeah, exactly. Right. We love Chad. Very cool.
Mango's a friend of mine. He's a good dude.
Awesome. So tonight we're going to talk about a little bit about ZICA Toys, a little bit about Undead Operator, and then I kind of want you guys to walk me through what is Easy Kill 9. Destro's Desk. What's up, dude? How you doing? So who wants to jump on that grenade first?
What was the grenade called?
Really?
I was reading the comments. I'm all in now. Look at me. I'm right.
Okay. Are you here?
I'm here now.
Okay. So I want you guys to kind of talk to me and everybody in the chat about Undead Operator and ZICA Toys.
Craig, why don't you introduce ZICA since you're kind of producing the line?
Okay. Well, I came across the line initially when the first Kickstarter was launched, and was very impressed with the designs and the direction that things were being taken with it. And I thought it would be worth reaching out and seeing if they wanted to work with me and possibly get another Kickstarter going and give this thing a second go, because I think it deserves it. It's a really cool line. I like it.
So Undead Operator, to talk quickly about it, I can really talk for a long time, so I'll try to ramp it down. So I started working on Undead Operator in about 2010. I just had an idea for a story, really a comic book that had to do with these paramilitary operators that are complete ghosts. They don't exist. They're dead, legally, everything's been expunged, and they don't work for the military, because in the near future where this story is set, the military's hands are kind of tied by a bunch of diplomatic things. So what Undead Operator is it's a whole army, international, of these paramilitary ghost operators who slay the undead. Because in my story, we've had a big outbreak of like a virus type thing, actually, it's called the Cleave, and it affects people in different ways, but people in effect become zombies, vampires, werewolves, it affects them all differently. But you've got this big outbreak, and the international community won't do anything about it because there's this idea that these undead people have rights and have civil rights, but they're killing and preying on everyone. So we needed a secret task force that could do the dirty work. And I call that task force, that whole army, I call them the Undead Operators. Yeah.
Love it. I'm trying to move me to the bottom of the screen. That way I'm only covering my face. And Wilhelm says, take my money.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So
yeah, I'll take you on.
George Aikens says, damn liberals. We're not getting into that, man.
I love that.
And then Mango Dogwood says that story is ice cold. Yeah. Cool. And then World Made of Cardboard says, I like the lady figure.
She's special.
I like that lady figure. Rip to the other 8 easy kills.
Yeah. The easy kill 9, how many people are on the squad. Is generally about 9 of them at any given time. Yeah, that's where the 9 comes from.
That's an average infantry squad.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So an average infantry squad is 9. So you have fire team A, which is 4, right? So you have a team leader, and then you have 3 soldiers under that team leader, and then fire team B, right? So you have your alpha team leader and your bravo team leader. So each is generally a corporal or a sergeant, and then you have 3 soldiers under them, and then you have a squad leader. So you always have 9 in the squad.
Nice. Well, that worked out nice then, because I didn't know that. So
good job, you.
Yeah.
Is it Guinea verse? Is that how I'm pronouncing that? I mean, I'm Italian. Oh, it is Guinevere.
Yeah.
I just see whatever I want to see. Did you just call me a guinea? No, it's totally all right. So before we get into this, I kind of want to talk about what you did as you were coming up with Easy Kill 9, because I think one feeds into the other and it gives credibility. And I want to say hey to everybody that just popped in, like V. Conley, Guinevere 310. I got it right that time. George Aiken, James from Ratface 44. Bill, is that Leonair? Okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank everybody who just popped in. World Made a Cardboard says she's on a skateboard. My daughter in the Corps at A&M would love that figure, right? Something about an action figure on a skateboard, man. When I first saw the design art for her, I was like, oh, dude, it's awesome. So what I want to talk about real quick is that you designed Cadaver for Operation Recall.
Yeah.
And one thing that's important about Cadaver is Cadaver's kind of the anchor for the entire enemy team in regard to Operation Recall, because that logo, which you can actually see, you made me a logo with Cadaver's face, and I thought it was apropos to use it tonight, so I put it in there. But Cadaver's his face, that logo, is kind of carried throughout the entire enemy team on Operation Recall. So I thought that was really cool that you actually helped set that.
Yeah, I'll talk to it for a minute. So when the call for submissions came out for Operation Recall, I already had an idea to do a toy line, but I thought, gosh, these guys are the best in the world, really. Let me see if I can submit something that they would like it. So I actually submitted 3 early Undead operator concepts.
Right.
And, Cadaver was one, and I had a guy that also had a K9 with him, and I had a sniper lady, and they really liked all 3 of them, I'm told. But, there were only 16 slots, and obviously you're not going to give somebody more than one. So they went with Cadaver, which was the first one I created, and I think the strongest submission. And yeah, he, Carson, and I think also Kirk Bazigian and a few others, they really loved that split down the middle skull. I think it reminded them a bit of the Cobra logo or something along those lines. And they thought, we can rally around that. So, it's on almost every enemy figure, really, which is a big honor. And this has been a super fun project. Chad, I know you backed it and you're a big fan of it, and it's been great to watch the figures come along. But I think Cadaver was, he was in wave 1. He was in those first 4.
Cadaver's why I backed it.
Thanks. And I've actually heard several people say that. Obviously, that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think a lot of people felt like with the grounding of that figure, a bad guy team, they could visualize it, And so I think people are like, hey, I'm going to back that. So yeah, it was super fun. I just sat down. I already had Undead operators in my mind, and I just grabbed some stuff and put it together in a really slimmed down figure. See, I've worked in professional character design in video games, so I knew what my archetype was. I'm going to go with that silent killer. I actually pitched him as a good guy, but it works just as well, obviously, as a bad guy. I pitched him as one guy, Cadaver, this sort of like deadly silent killer, which has flowed over a little bit into Bludgeon, who I know we're going to talk about. But yeah, it was really, I cried when I was chosen. I actually cried like in my kitchen, like, holy cow, Kirk Bazigian and Larry Hammond, people are going to know my concept. And I mean, when I read what Larry wrote for the file card, it was like a super surreal moment. So it's just been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been great.
Very cool. And yeah, just like we were talking about, you can see here with the general how they kind of redesigned his face to fit that motif of the cadaver, and then the enemy executioners. You can see it. Not only do they wear a skull mask, but it's also on their torso. I don't want to say like the Punisher, but carries over the cadaver theme. And then Damselfly, she has it as well. So
Yeah,
I
she
thought
got
that was
5 places on her. Yeah.
I thought that was super cool. Yeah, very very cool. Pericles, what's up, dude? Is that a cup?
It's kind of, remember, I pitched them as undead operators. I pitched them as zombie slayers. And so he's
Don't get bit in the crotch.
Don't get, I mean, honestly, he's protecting the good, he's in kind of like flak and all kind of stuff with a little bit of extra reinforcement in some places. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally dig it. Matthew Matson's here. What's up, dude? Says, I met the call sign longbow people this weekend. Ron Rudat and a bunch of other cool people. I love the horror mythos. Werewolves are my favorite. There you go.
I'll say real quick, if we get into stretch goals on this campaign, if you watch the Undead Operator page on Facebook, I've got a 2-pistol werewolf slayer that we could potentially fund in stretch goals. Her name is Vale, and she specifically hunts lycanthropes and werewolves. So I'm into it, dude. It's we've got some fun stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so far, if you're looking at the chat, there's a lot of really good feedback coming so far. So
yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Really cool. So, look at that. Lawrence is here. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Some places, extra padding in some places. And just like what Will said here, you got to protect the goods. Like, don't let zombies bite you in your nether regions.
What's going to become? Let's not even. If you get bit, anyway. Yeah,
bit is bit, right?
I don't know. Can it be local? Can it be because you don't want that?
I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to touch on the whole Operation Recall and how cadavers sort of set the visual language for the enemy team, which I thought was important to talk about.
Yeah, thanks.
So now we're going to get more into the Easy Kill 9 stuff itself. So, Craig, anything you want to get into before we move on to the characters?
No.
Okay. One disease at a time. Very good. All right, so we're going to take a look specifically at these 3 figures, then we're going to talk about one other, and then we'll talk articulation, things like that, your stretch goals. I know that you had said one thing you wanted to do was ask the people on the stream some specific questions, like what would you like to see? What are you looking for? And you can get into those questions whenever you want. Do you want to talk about the characters first?
Yeah, let's talk about the characters one time. So there's actually 4. The reason 3 are depicted in the first thing there is because the 4th one's been modeled, but we don't have the paint master yet. So I didn't want to kind of Photoshop them into everything. But yeah, let's talk about them.
Mike Layton says all action figures should have a Blackie Lawless codpiece. If you know Wasp, very good, cool. All right, so let's get into Bludgeon. Talk to us a little bit about Bludgeon.
Yeah, so in the Undead Operator, in the broad group of those operators, there's 4 classes. Really, there's 4 specialties. So Easy Kill 9 has a sampling of all 4 of those, right? You've got 4 different types of operators, and you can see there on the side that Slayer logo with kind of like the hand dagger there with the knuckle braces on it. That is Bludgeon's class. So he's particularly a street level silent zombie killer. He's the guy that goes in and just mows down the horde that's on street level, right? In this story, what's happening is the outbreak has happened. Governments are wrestling with, can we just kill these things or whatever? Meantime, you've got people just being destroyed on the streets, especially at night. No one can go out in major cities and things like that. It's just completely overrun. So governors are contracting with these private agents secretly and saying, hey, come in and clear the streets. So the first thing that's got to be done is those back alleys and things have got to be cleansed of all those lurkers, right? So that's what Bludgeon does, and he's the best at it. That's why he's on Easy Kill 9. You don't get onto Easy Kill 9 unless you're super elite. His file card doesn't say too much about his background and stuff because, again, these guys have been scrubbed. But there's a chance he's like far Eastern European, Romanian, Ukrainian, maybe even Russian, something like that. He doesn't really talk much, but he goes in with his tactical blades and with his machete and with his swords, and he just spends 8 hours a night just mowing them down like soup. He's just going alley by alley and just killing dozens and dozens and dozens of lurkers, and just incredibly fast and skilled in all sorts of hand-to-hand combat. So what I wanted to do for his design was first give him some kind of spectral vision going on there, give him some kind of some night vision goggly types, and he needs to be covered completely head to toe, right? Again, kind of like cadaver, right? This idea that you're not going to leave any flesh exposed. So he's got a little bit of body armor and stuff like that on. The figure comes with a kind of a tactical machete. It actually slides into a sheath on his back. You can see it coming off of his shoulder there. He's got a couple of push daggers that it comes with as well. And one thing we want to set out to the community, we can get to in a few minutes, is should his thigh-mounted blade and his torso blade, should they actually be removable? Should we mold those into the figures? You see right now they're not. We've gone really traditional, kind of like G.I. Joe molded on stuff.
Right.
But of course, the technology exists. And I'm 50-50 on it. I don't do anything to bulk up their appearance, right? Because part of this line is less is more, and things are really streamlined,
Which we've talked about, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy can really double as a nice army builder if you want to play with Joes, Cobras, longbow, Operation Recall, whatever. And I don't want to distract too much from that. And he already comes with 3 blades, right? He's got the machete and 2 push daggers, but he's all silent weaponry. This guy doesn't deal with any ballistics. His MO is going quiet, going super quick. Only because if you're down at street level, you can't be firing off a bunch of ballistics and stuff in neighborhoods that you're trying to cleanse. Something goes through a window and hits a kid or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the mindset behind that.
So he's the edge weapon expert kind of dude.
Exactly. Yep. Completely silent, completely stealth. And none of these guys can get caught, right? Because they're not local law enforcement doesn't know they're there. Military doesn't know they're there. These guys have to be super quick and just get it done. And they're never in one city more than 48 hours. You've got 2 nights to cleanse as much of the city as you can. And this is the guy that they put down, down on the street to get those zombies out of there. Yeah.
So to kind of touch on the question that you just posited to everybody regarding, should these be molded on or should they not? George Aiken says, if it's 6-inch, yes, actually make them removable. If it's 4-inch, it will be up to the tooling cost. So George, these are traditional 3 3/4. That's why when Chad was saying like you can use them with Operation Recall or your old school O-ring Joes and things like call sign longbow, that's what he was talking.
Yeah. I'm a lover of the vintage Joes. We're really modeling it right after the form factor of those 80s Joes. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And I love the fact that I've got one sitting on my desk and it's skid mark, right? But I love the fact that skid mark. it was a gift. But I love the fact that you consider that aesthetic as far as molding things onto the figure, keeping their profile kind of slim. I mean, because that's just how Joe's did it. That's how Recall's doing it, for the most part, and that's how call sign Longbow's doing it. That's how things like Strike Force Alpha. That's just how those lines do it, because it's that love letter. And you're right, they will play well with your traditional O-ring kind of Joe body design figures, and I really like that.
Yeah, as I'm looking in the chat, it seems like people are kind of going where I'm going with it. That if this is 3 3/4, let's just mold it in and keep that silhouette clean. And that's kind of my first instinct on it as well. Yeah,
that's really what I'm seeing. So World Made of Cardboard says, I like the less is more concept. Every design I do is to be simple. Simple makes for a great figure. I think molded will work well. V. Connolly says, I'm not mad at them being molded onto the figure. Cutthroat's asking, will Bludgeon come with operator radio?
No, he comes with what's depicted here. So he's got the sheath that pegs into his back. He's got the tactical sword, and he's got the 2 push daggers. I don't know if I'm missing like an inside joke there. No,
maybe because of Undead operator. I don't know. Unknown. Fell a little flat there, Chris. Beta Ray Bob, I would leave the sheath holsters off if they would probably be too bulky at this scale. Well, I mean, molded works really well. If you think about the original 82 line where you had the Cobra Trooper and the Cobra Officer, you know, they had that, they had the piano wire, you know, a garrote kind of molded onto them. They had knives and grenades and all sorts of stuff molded onto them. And yeah, it works. It works really well. Wilhelm says, leave him molded to the figure. I like the details. He comes with plenty of accessories. Yeah. I hope the wrists rotate because I hate that you can't pose shooting easy when the wrist is in one place.
Yep. All the wrists rotate.
Yep. Scorched Earth. What's up? O-ring for life. What? Yeah. Do you want to get into the articulation part now, or do you want to kind of go over the characters first and then get into the articulation? What do you want?
Let's go over the characters and we can circle back to articulation. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, as the questions come up and everybody who's hanging out with us tonight, if you have questions, please ask them and I'll throw them up. You know, we'll address everything. I like being able to see everyone's comments and talk to everybody. I don't like when streams are so busy that I miss comments. All right, so then there's the character design art, and I like that someone said the aesthetic of his helmet has a very bat type look to it.
Yeah.
Is that intentional?
You know, yes. Each one of these figures, they're kind of co-opting the deco of the undead that they're killing, and that's an operator thing. You know, put a skull on your face type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of little nods here to like bat wings and skulls and that type of thing for sure. Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah, yeah. It's a spooky line.
Here's a question from George Aiken. Would they be available in the UK?
I think so. I think you're just going to pay, you know, because I've designed a Kickstarter too, and I'll let Craig actually. And Craig, why don't I shut up and maybe you can talk about that? Craig's actually running the campaign.
I'd like for them to be available in the UK. Probably it would take finding actually a distributor over there because unfortunately we've been hit with all those VAT B collection rules and stuff, which make things a little bit complicated to do that, unfortunately. But if there's a way to do it, yeah, I will definitely have that option available.
Cool. Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
There you go, George. There's your answer. So shooting for yes.
Hard maybe.
Yeah. Hard. Gonna try to work it out. World Made of Cardboard says, I always like 90s bazooka figure. You like Gone Fishing bazooka? He has grenades molded to his wrist. What is a fisherman going to do with grenades? He's gonna kill fish with grenades, I guess. I don't know. All right, so Bludgeon, let's look at his card art. Dude, this card art, I love it. I love everything about it. And you had just mentioned the spooky. Like the way Undead Operator is on the back with the little skull in the middle, it's super spooky. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, that logo, that Undead Operator logo was created in 2010. And it's kind of sat waiting for its day until now. Again, we've got like a simple design here, right? Things fade into black, right? This is a black and ghostly blue with sort of like green tints kind of line. You know, the reds are very blood red and crimsony. The whites are very ashy. That's what I'm going for here from a design perspective. You see the foul card on the back. It's similar to the Joe's. It also has its own unique kind of structure to it. The quotes,
it's a little bloody.
Yeah, a little blood and grime on it. The quotes that are down on the bottom are from the head of all the Undead Operators, Malcolm Zydec. He's actually one of the 4 figures that's in the first wave here. We'll see him in a few minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, you know, I got a brand new, when I did the first Kickstarter, because of course Easy Kill 9 had a Kickstarter a little over a year ago, but we didn't have any prototypes or anything, and it was just me, and people really liked it, but it didn't get the backing, right? And which I figured it may not, but I really wanted to introduce the line to everyone, and that's how Craig and I met, so all things are working out well, right? But at that time, my artwork flow was a little bit minimal because I just had a small laptop and some pencil and paper. Since then, I've gotten this big, amazing Cintiq where I can actually get right down on the art, and I've redesigned my entire way I paint and do all that type of stuff. So I think the art that's on these cards, which I created, is a significant step above, you know, what you would have got a year ago, and I'm super glad that we have it. Yeah, I don't know if I even answered your question, Chad. You told me just talk, and so I started talking.
I love it. No, you're hitting on all the points, and just like George Aiken pointed out, dark and simple with all the emphasis on the figure.
Yeah,
like
that's the idea.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
And again, I truly feel that you're approaching card art from the way that all these larger companies approach card art, because card art is designed to grab kids' attention. It's supposed to be where it's at maximum competition on the toy aisle. And even though these won't be on a toy aisle, you still carry over all those ideas and themes and, just a visual language. And that's kind of what you need for any toy line, is a good visual language. And that's kind of my current beef with Hasbro, is that they have no visual language. It's just like, whatever, change the packaging, screw it. So
yeah.
But,
I always envision these. I envision these on a peg at a Walmart or a Target, and I'm like, how can it stand out? And I think this immediately looks different, than the other action figures that are. It's the same, but it's like, whoa, all the black and the the crimson. What's going on there? So that's the hope.
I appreciate that it has that white racetrack around it. Kind of almost goes back to that '78 Star Wars with the racetrack.
Yeah,
I'm a real big fan of that you put that on there.
Yeah, me too.
All right, cool. So yeah, a lot of people getting a lot of great feedback. I love the Undead Operator logo. Very nice. Yeah, I dig it too. Craig, do you want to talk anything on this card art or Bludgeon before we move on?
No, I'll wait until we get to the articulation and materials and stuff like that.
Yeah, all right. What'd you say, sir? I'm sorry.
That's kind of my area of expertise, is that stuff. I'll leave the artwork to other people.
Sounds good. All right, so now we're going to talk about 30. So I really want to dig into her, because I had seen this line when you first started rolling it out, and I had seen all the other character design and what the figures were going to look like, but there was something about 30, right? Being that I'm a lifelong skateboarder, 30 there's just something about her where she has that kind of like skater gangster chick sort of appeal. So let's talk about 30 real quick.
I'll give it to you straight. I was in the middle of designing the line just a week before the first Kickstarter, and I had a dream that had a blonde-haired lady with a red hat and a blue sports jersey with the number 30 on it. And I was like, she's going in the line, done. I immediately just loved it. And so then I thought, oh my gosh, let's put her in kicks and let's give her a skateboard. So the idea with 30 is, and put the glasses on her. This lady's maybe 40 years old. Like if we were casting her in a movie or something, but she can look 15. She's petite, she's diminutive, she's demure. So, and she's world-class specialist. So the idea is she can assume a bunch of different roles, because what they do with 30, she's one of our secret guard, right? She's not a slayer. She's not a sniper. She's not fighting werewolves and vampires. She goes into a city before any of the rest of the task force, and she catalogs the whole city. She skateboards through all the underbelly and all the buildings. She's like, all right, where's OpsCom going to be? Like, where are we going to set up? How are the roofs laid out? What's the cartel in the city? Her glasses are photographing everything. And she just skateboards around for a day or two like she's some 16-year-old on a vacation. And she's doing all that intel and recon. So she's the advanced recon operative. And so in designing her, I really wanted her to be, okay, this lady could be 35 and she's just a dope skater, or she could be 15 and you wouldn't know the difference, right? That's kind of her motif. Now, I love Scarlet. I wasn't ever a huge fan of Lady J. I loved her in the cartoon. I didn't like the figure all that much. I love Jinx, the Baroness, but they're all a bit over the top. And I wanted a blonde-haired, approachable, feminine, tomboy, but still with glamour figure in this line, because she's kind of the emotional anchor of the whole thing. She's
That's
the first
kind of why I threw this up. Sorry to interrupt you, but George Aiken says she could be Coral in undercover gear, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. She's everybody and she's nobody at the same time. Sports jersey, khakis with the yoga pants underneath with the red kicks, and just packing, one little 9mm or something in case she absolutely has to use it. So ball cap on back. I really wanted to have the long blonde hair. I wish that a lot of the CoverGirl figures, from my youth, had really had that long blonde flowing hair like the Baroness had with the dark hair. I just think it would have been such a win. That's such an 80s thing to do, to kind of throw out like the Michelle Pfeiffer hair or whatever. So just went for it and designed her. And working with Electric Berry, Stefan from Electric Berry, who did the modeling, we really wanted her to have a really feminine vibe. So unlike, the 80s Joe females, her arms are really small and demure. We've really tucked in the waist and things like that. I think she came out fantastic. She's got a cute butt. She's got a nice skateboard. Like, I think this would be a super fun figure. And again, a figure that I think you could pair with so many other lines that she would work. Or maybe you don't like military at all and you just want a cool skater chick in glasses. I'm trying to do some of that with this line that, hey, you don't like a horror line? I don't watch horror movies, right? That's not why I'm doing the line. But I want to appeal to people that like horror movies. You don't like military? We've got 30, man. She could just put her on a skate deck and, we could do cool like accessory packs with a bunch of different decks for her and longboards and all kinds of stuff. So I'm rambling, but I hope I'm hitting on your question a little bit. She's totally one of my favorites. Holding her in my hand, the prototype was like, it's really been fun.
I love the molded wrinkling of her shirt right here where it's kind of tucked in.
Yeah.
Looks really good. And again, if you're talking about these figures fitting in with other lines, the fact that you have her bookended top and bottom with that same kind of red color, her hat and her slip-ons. I really appreciate that because you see that a lot with lines like G.I. Joe. So, I mean, just like even look at Skidmark, right? Boots, right? Vest, helmet, all the same color, right? So bookends, you see that a lot. And I really appreciate the fact that you did that.
Yeah. In design, we call that a unifying element, right? The idea that if you just have a bright
sorry. Well, unifying.
No, you're right. But I'm just speaking to the graphic designer element of it. You want things to kind of flow through without becoming too much of a focal point on a figure like this. So that, like, if you look at Spider-Man, I'll just wax philosophical real quick. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man is the all-time, I'm talking about his original suit, the all-time greatest superhero design ever. Because no matter which way you twist him, he has the exact same aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? He's just got a unifying element all through. So I try to work some of that kind of stuff into the figures. Yeah. Is it your cat?
Yeah, she just strolled by. Yeah. She's a rescue. She had been abused when she was younger, so I kind of baby her. So.
Sure.
Okay. Let me get to some of these comments real quick before we move on, because I starred one and then we got a bunch more, all related to 30. So Lauren says, and she skates regular, not goofy. So Chad, what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to fix that so she skates goofy. Actually, it really doesn't matter. I could just put her on there goofy. Thank you. But still, yeah. And then Wilhelm says, Skate Recon, excellent character. World made of cardboard. 30. Her name is 30. I love it. Jay Bartlett's here. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Jay, there's no vipers in the whole line, bro. You're going to love it.
No big heads. No big heads. Look at this, Jay. Look at this head. It's not that big. Look at it. Nice and streamlined, buddy. Dude, I love the design of Bludgeon. I love right? There's your unifying design, right? Head and boots.
There it is. Yep.
I love it. The colors on this character are so good.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's get back to 30. So we're talking about 30. And then George Aiken says, you could put a holster under the skateboard.
I like it. I thought about putting a knife under there. It's not too late. We'll see.
I like it. Yeah. Either way, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
That's a real cool idea. Guinevere 310, who for some reason I thought said, what is it? Guineaverse? I'm having a day. TJC says, looks cool. Mr. Wonderful's here. What's up, dude? Then everybody's saying hi to Mr. Wonderful. And Jay, World Made of Cardboard, says, she would go well with my Chuckles figure I got at Joe Fest. She would.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
She looks good on anybody's arm, dude. You can put her with she looks good.
Her and Bazooka are an instant couple.
Nope, I forbid it. Sorry, not cartoon Bazooka. He's too weird, man. He's too goofy.
But figure-wise,
yeah,
it would look great standing next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
He really does have a point.
Yeah.
Real cool. Scorched Earth says you can get a lot of miles out of the female torso with repaints. Yep.
We're trying to keep all that stuff in mind, to be quite honest with you. We want to appeal to all different aspects of the community. So, yeah.
I mean, just take a page from Hasbro and Snake Eyes. But hey, V. Conley says, I will definitely get 30 because my girlfriend loves her look.
More women collecting, dude. Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll get 30 just for the ma'am.
The ma'am doesn't cosplay 30. If the ma'am doesn't cosplay 30, I'm rage quitting life. So you just start.
Ooh, we could do that.
Yeah.
Does the skateboard have a peg on it?
Yep. Skateboard has a peg.
There you go. Boom. Yeah, and then Lauren says, not bumbling cartoon bazooka. He was so bad.
He was.
We're all in, oh, okay. Right? Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
But anyway, so here's the original art for 30, and she looks so good. What else you got for her? Let's look at her card art. Dude, that card art is so good.
I think it caught her vibe pretty well. I mean, she looks pretty BA. Again, she could kind of be 15 or she could kind of be 35. You know, that's kind of what we're going for. And you can see on the skateboard there that the deck does come. There's going to be like some tempo. There's going to be a fun design on the bottom side of that deck. We're really going for that kind of like grungy skater vibe with her. So the top of it's all kind of a matte black, but underneath, you know, you have a cool design on the bottom of the deck.
Right. Grip tape and then graphics. Yeah.
So she's our advanced recon. She's the only one in the line that is a actually no, Xerxes is too. Chad, you might be interested. Xerxes is another secret guard.
What?
If we get into some stretch goals, I really want to get a Xerxes figure going on there, which is, you know, I didn't know when I first made him that your call sign was Xerxes, but now every time I think of that character, I'm like, it's Chad. It's Chad, you know? Yeah,
my call sign is Xerxes,
Yeah. So I
mean, you know, it's not much of a stretch, right? You know. Anyway.
Her file card gets into some of the nitty gritty of like her MO and stuff like that. Just cool little things that I put in there, like no op for Easy Kill 9 can start in any city until 30 has mapped out the whole town, gone into the 5 and dime, bought a little stuffed lamb and laid it at the front door of where OpsCom will be. They don't do any, so they've got a bunch of like sort of like superstitions and subtle call signs and things that they do. So if we ever do an accessory pack or something with her with additional decks and things, you'll get a little lamb, a little stuffed lamb in there as well, because sooner or later we have to have one of those for her. But I had a lot of fun writing the file cards. I do think that the card art came out pretty good. Hope other people will think that as well, because again, trying to think, man, if I'm in Target and I'm just walking by Masters of the Universe and I'm just walking by G.I. Joe and I'm just walking by whatever Marvel's doing, you know, I need a design there that I instantly go, you know, whoa, like what's going on with that character? So that's the vibe I'm trying to bring with those.
I love the fact that you have put so much thought and backstory and lore into not just dollies, right? You're not just like, here's figures, buy my figures. It's, you know, she's 40, but she could look 15, and the thing with the lamb, and she goes in and does all this stuff. And everything that I've read about this line, the more I read about it, the more I love it, because it's not just vampires and werewolves. It translates into so many other things. Like, you actually really put a lot of thought into operations. Like how do you, like, planning, preparing, conducting, everything regarding like unified land operations. I think that's really cool.
So to talk just real quick, my background in video games was character design and world building. It was my job to build the whole world, the whole story, you know, and millions of people around the world going to play these games, right? So that's just how I think. So I didn't approach Easy Kill 9 as I want to launch a toy line and it needs a story. I approach it as Undead Operator is this whole world that kind of has this whole mythos to it. And how can I make a toy line from the elite, you know, characters of that? So my brain goes immediately to story, and then story informs the design, right? Which is one of the griefs that you can hear even like Larry Hama, people sort of like, you know, wring their hands over this stuff, that when you have a line where there's a story, but the line is being driven by marketing and such, that story becomes a mess, right? Yeah. We don't have that with Easy Kill 9. The story is driving the line, and I want to make sure that it stays that way.
Dig it.
Yeah.
Totally dig it. Yeah, and a classic example would be Hasbro telling Larry Hama to put the Pogo Ballistic Battle Ball in the comics, and he was like, "This thing is dumb," and he put it in one comic and then never put it in there again.
The Pogo,
again, right? Yeah, because marketing, right? They were like, "Well, we came up with this toy here, throw it in the comics," and yeah, he was like, "This thing's pathetic."
He was hogtied every single. If we had a GI Joe where Larry Hama just wrote what he wanted to write, dude, I can't even tell you. But anyway, yeah, that's a different thing.
Real quick, that's it jumped. Drew G's in the house. What's up, dude? And then here's a question from Beta Ray Bob, which will the cards be collector friendly, like the bubbles slide off and on, or will the bubbles be glued fixed to the card? Or would they be a different thing where you look at, say, like Eagle Force, where the plastic wraps around the card and you can just slide it off? Is that more of a Craig question?
Yeah.
Craig?
Right. They'll be glued to the card. Sorry.
And that's okay, right? But either way, right, it's a fair question. And thanks for asking that question. Again, any questions you guys have for these guys, please just ask them. World Made of Cardboard. Xerxes, tall, bald dude, king, Chad, awesome, tall. Thanks. Appreciate that. What about other media in support of this toy line? I don't know. Who's that a question for?
I guess that would probably be me.
Okay.
So I am writing the comic book. The level of art that you're seeing here on the card backs is what you'll be seeing in the comic. Depending on when we actually launch the Kickstarter, which is something we want to talk about tonight, will depend on how many pages of the comic you'll be able to preview when you back. But the basic idea is there'll be like a 22-page comic book that you can digitally download. If you back at any level, if you give $1 to this campaign, you'll be able to download issue 1 of Easy Kill 9 from Undead Operator, a full comic book, shortly after the campaign is done. So fallish. I don't want to rush it too much, but I want to say again, yeah, and thank you for your question, George. This really is about the story. It really is. So I don't want to produce, a line and you have to kind of, all you get is, a little clip on the back. No, I want you to see these figures in action. I want you to know that every quarter there's a new issue of the comic coming out, that type of thing. And if we do well, much, much more than that, because I have written pilots for TV shows. I've worked with animation studios. Guys, I've got plans. I've got significant plans for this. So other media, definitely comics, right? But beyond that, I've hired and trained voice actors and done all these things, created, cinematic, high-end $1 million cinematic trailers for video games and stuff like this. So I'm really interested in bringing some of those other talents that I have to bear for Easy Kill 9. So the sky's the limit if we can get, a Kickstarter under our belt and get these toys out there, because anyway, yeah, lots of ideas and things that I think we really can make happen.
That's awesome. So that's a yes.
It's a yes.
Cool. Father Son Galaxy says the design gets me interested, but the story makes me stay and go all in. Looks great so far. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Right. Because it can't just be dollies. There's got to be something with it.
Right.
Drew G says, I went to clean the collection, ended up reorganizing all the rooms, so I am listening in on my tablet. I hear you, brother. I worked in my Joe room late last night and all this morning, and I got a bunch of clutter cleaned out, so feels good. Way to go. George Aiken says a lot of hard work definitely going into this line. Very cool. All right, so that's 30, and I gotta say she's awesome. Oh, there was one kind of off the cuff comment from Lawrence here. Is it too late to ask for the art to be fixed without her maul grabbing the board? Dude, I carry my board by the trucks. Get out of here. Anyway, sorry.
I'm not a skater myself. Some of it's just I'm faking it. If I'm doing it wrong, definitely let me know. It's not too late to fix the art if it's really broken.
No, it's not. I truck carry my board. Whatever. He's just being Lawrence. And then George says, I'm pretending to be Biofeld with the cat. It's my daughter's kitten. And he's like super lovey. And I mean, we're talking about spooky shit anyway, right? So black cat.
That's right.
Works out. But
That's
every
right.
time I put him down, he's like,
You just gave me an idea. When we do the first vehicle, we might just call it Black Cat.
love it.
That's not
Love
bad.
it.
That's not
Do
bad.
it. Do it, Doug.
I was going to call
Anyway.
it Prowler, but I think Black Cat works a little better.
There you go. Yeah, he's cute, but he's a little a-hole. So kittens, right?
Kittens.
Cool. All right. Now we're gonna get into the third paint master. Let's talk about this guy.
Praetor. Yeah. So this guy's one of the Night Stalkers, right? So we've got Bludgeon's our Slayer. We've got 30. She's our Secret Guard, right? We've got these Black Mavens, which are the werewolf and the lycanthrope hunters. We don't have one of those, but we might have one stretch goal. But the fourth class of Undead Operator is a Night Stalker. And they're pretty much all sharpshooters, but they specialize in Nosferatu. They specialize in vampire. The idea being vampires are chic and sophisticated. They're still deadly killers. They're still drinking blood. They're still undead, but they're not down there shambling through the streets, digging through garbage, looking for a chicken wing. You know, they're at the parties. They're at the galas. They're at the political rallies. You know, they're in boardrooms. Like they're making that. So what you need is somebody who can snipe them from 3 blocks away from a rooftop through a 5th story window. I mean, that's what you need. And so that's what these Night Stalkers are. They and all the weapons are custom built. That's one thing about. In fact, that's something for almost every Undead Operator around the world, that their weapons are modded. They're learning how to make this stuff from scratch, completely untraceable and that type of thing. So his gun there is something that, you know, I designed from scratch with the scope and these types. So all of the Night Stalkers will have very unique looking, slightly sci-fi looking weaponry. But he's got a little homage, of course, to Chad's favorite
Low light, baby.
A little low light hat going on because I had to. I mean, seriously, I did. I went there.
I love watch caps. They're awesome.
Yeah, right. And also, if you watch like a lot of sniper movies and stuff, this is a thing that people are wearing. You know, it just seemed right. And again, with that unifying element, sort of the whole head gray and then gray down on the boots and this type of stuff as well. So he is, one of the very best sharpshooters in the world. If you read his file card, there's a lot of cool stuff in there about how he researches the families of those who have been hit by Nosferatu before he goes in. Like if a little girl or something died in a certain block, he'll print out a picture of her and carry it in his, in his pocket and stuff. It's very personal for these guys. So the name Praetor is that idea, of kind of like a very elite warrior who is, super, super upper echelon, but who doesn't have to kind of go in and get his hands dirty. He's like a ruler. He's kind of like a leader. The idea is they own the rooftops. These Night Stalkers own the rooftops. So yeah, that's a little bit about Praetor.
Love him. Love him. All right. And there's his art. Dude, that art is so good.
Thank you.
Let's look at the file card. So there's this file card. You want to get in anything on this?
Yeah. Again, this idea of just the figure just kind of is sort of low lit at night, looking off to the side, holding the gun in the very military type of stance. And then we're just fading out to black because I want each one of these cards to have that emotion that it's really just this isolated warrior kind of surrounded by the night, ready to go out and do some dirty deeds done dirt cheap type of thing. I don't want to spoil too much about his file card. I don't think you can read it there a whole lot. But when we launch the campaign, everybody's file card and everything will be really front and center. But there's a lot of fun mythology around each of these class of operator. The Night Stalkers, they call themselves Franks because the head that's in their logo looks a bit like an old cartoony Frankenstein's head, like from the cereal you had as kids, where with Franken Monster or whatever was on the front,
which is right there.
Yeah, like this big bulbous head, so they call themselves the Franks and stuff. So I've got all their nicknames and everything kind of already going. He's got some modded body armor, some special body armor. But again, the idea with these guys is you never even know they're in the city, right? Easy Kill 9 sort of knows where everyone is, right? Like Ops Command and things knows where people are. But the vampire are not even supposed to know this guy showed up until the bullet's already gone through their temple and they're just laying on the floor of the party. You know, it's that type of thing. They're spooks, you know? Yeah.
Just like Lowlight, just like my dude.
Exactly.
I find it cool and interesting that you said dirty deeds done dirt cheap. So my unit, my heavy weapons, right? We're a Delta company. So D, right? We're the Desperados.
Okay.
And our motto is dirty deeds done dirt cheap. So our first sergeant gets up in front of the formation and he yells dirty deeds. And then the whole formation says done dirt cheap. Yeah.
Nice.
Which is good. Yeah.
It's
big fan.
It's destiny, bro. It's destiny.
We blast that song, man. When we roll out, we blast that.
Very cool too.
Let me back up a little bit because we got some people talk about black cats are the best cats. Yep, black cats. M Vargo's here. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And then Ian says, fellow Operation Recall concept creator here. Good to see this picking up steam.
Yep. Ian made Lilith, and she's turning out very cool. Yeah.
George Aiken said if he was done in all black, he would look like an SAS trooper. Kind of.
Yeah.
From Action Force.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And then Guinevere says, I love the exposed arm. Me too. I like it. Kind of breaks it up a little bit. Yeah.
Some of the figures, you know, you want them to have a little asymmetry. Bludgeon's very symmetrical, right? They've all got like a little knife over here or whatever. But for the ones that are really specialized that I consider to, you know, because Bludgeon, although he's super specialized, he's really a grunt, right? The Slayers are your grunts that go in and get stuff done. And he's not worried about, you know, fashion or anything. But with someone like Praetor, again, I'm kind of thinking back to those old elite, even like the Roman Guard and stuff. And a lot of times they would have a sash or something that hung over one side, you know, even in Star Wars, right? Like the Desert Trooper that has the big blast shield or whatever that comes.
Yeah, they got pauldrons and all sorts of craziness going on.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. V. Conley says Praetor looks really dope. And then George Aiken is asking, so what are the enemy figures planned?
So without saying too much, the enemy figures for this line are really where the line gets incredibly interesting because you're talking about monsters. You're talking about legitimate living dead. I'm talking about female vampires with crazy hair, with wings that peg right into their back, you know, bat wings and stuff like this. Lots and lots and lots of zombies, right? My idea is to just keep pumping out like army builder zombies because there's infinite variety of zombies. You know, you've got the lady with only one high heel and the ripped skirt and the smeared makeup and the no eye. You've got, you know, the guy in his tracksuit with the decrepit face and all this type of stuff. So we're focusing right now really on these heroes, right? Let's get these heroes out there. But if we get into some stretch goals on this first campaign, I already have concepts and spec art and everything done for one of the zombies. I have concepts and technical art done for one of the vampires and things like that. Now, Craig and I haven't talked too much about how stretch goal crazy we want to go on this one, but there's definitely enemies that are already concepted, already in the works. And, you know, I really think this line is going to meet with some success, and we'll probably have several Kickstarter campaigns over the next year and a half or so. And we'll definitely be putting some pretty amazing bad guys out in front, and not just nobodies, right? Some of the bad guys, if you will, are like your Baroness, you know, these are characters that are very integral to the overall story. You know, the Undead Operator's been hunting them for years. They're going from city to city. They've moved up in clout. They're big A-list baddies, and they have a story of their own. Yeah.
Like a Faust kind of thing.
Right.
Very cool. I think it's funny that you said tracksuit zombie, because then you could take the tracksuit goon from Call Sign Longbow, and then you got tracksuit zombie, right? And you can put them right next to each other.
That's cool.
I love it. And then Embargo says, so many great O-ring figures coming out lately. Yeah, man, because fans do the best work. They're the only ones putting in the effort. Really cool. All right, so let's move on. I also appreciate the fact, and I kind of want to point this out, all of their file cards don't have the exact same kind of smudge and doo-doo and blood and stuff on them. They're all a little different.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that attention to detail.
Yeah. I didn't want them to all be, if you're going to smear blood on something, you got to do it each time because, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but it looks different. So I really appreciated that. You're not just like wash, rinse, repeat, same thing.
Right.
So let's talk about, oh, well, I wanted to show these pictures because you took these pictures with this Ostriker and they're just fun.
Yeah.
So it's, you and I kind of talked about this offline, and it's good to show these figures with vehicles that people know. Like everyone who knows O-ring lines, especially G.I. Joe, knows what an Ostriker is, what it looks like, what it feels like, the type of physical space that that vehicle takes up. So to show these three figures on an Ostriker, I thought was really important because you can see how well they blend. And I just think they look freaking great on this vehicle, especially the black Ostriker. It worked out really well.
You know, Chad knows that I went into my local shop and I just took a video of kind of the G.I. Joe shelves there because I know there's always stuff he's hunting for. And I said, hey, man, is anything here that you like? And he's like, that modern Ostriker is kind of cool. And immediately I was like, oh, I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to mail it to Chad. But before I send it to him, I'm totally doing a photo shoot with these paint masters on that thing because it's just, you know, it has that sort of urban tactical feel kind of built in, you know.
Yeah.
So I got out very carefully the paint masters that Craig was like, don't ruin these. And I got them out and I very carefully, you know, positioned them on the Ostriker and stuff, photoshopped out a few of the Joe decals and some of the shots and put a skull on there. But in truth, if we do any vehicles for this line, which I'm sure we will, there'll be no markings on them at all, right? I'm going to keep with the idea that these guys are ghosts and they don't do any fine marking.
Sanitized.
Yeah, but I wanted to just throw the skull on there for the sake of the picture. So I loved how these shots came out. You know, they really do look great. And you know, people are going to back this line and we're going to get it funded and people are going to get these figures and they're not just going to put them on a shelf. A lot of people are going to mix and match these with their Joes and other vehicles and you know, heck yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You know, so I just thought it was a great little photo shoot to put together.
I'm going to get a whole freaking army of Bludgeons. Why not? I'm going to make an army of that, dude. I love that character design.
You can back the campaign, just you. You can get it funded, just you, Chad. Imagine the Bludgeons that you would have. You'd have thousands of Bludgeons. What's wrong? How big is your credit card, Chad? We can stop the stream now. You and I can just go get this done.
No, we're good. We're good. We gotta share the love with everybody else because, like Will is saying here, look at that segue. I'm so happy to find out about these. I don't know how I missed them for so long.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, and that's why it's important that people in the community, because Will has a YouTube channel and he does stuff with Jim Largo. And I think it's important that, you know, people find out about this stuff because you may like it, you may not like it, you may want it, you may not be able to afford it, but at least get it out there so people can make that informed decision like, yeah, I want to back this. Yeah, I love the story. No, I don't want it. But I mean, at least put it in front of people's freaking eyes. And then Will says, I love the backgrounds in these pictures.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. George says the Ostriker that came out in the UK in '87 were lighter green for some reason. Yeah, true. I'll have the characters in a Z-Force ATC. Oh yeah, because it's one of the best vehicles ever made. Cool. All right, let's talk about this guy. So this is the fourth, right?
Yep, this is the fourth, and by the time we roll out the actual campaign, there'll be a finished paint master of this guy with photographs and everything. I've held the printed model in my hand, but we're going to have it reprinted somewhere else just because you want to get the very best quality that you can. So, but what we have here on screen is this is the actual 3D like ZBrush model by Stefan from Electric Berry, who's been doing all our sculpting, and he's amazing. If you don't know him, go follow him. He's doing incredible work. Chad, did you see the War Duke he put out that's being painted up right now?
By LaCroix?
Yeah, dude, shot off. That thing is sick. All right, so Stefan does really amazing work, and thanks to Craig for cultivating him. And Craig's been an amazing producer, you guys. I know I'm doing most of the talking. We're going to switch in a minute, and Craig's really going to shine here. But this campaign would not be happening without the partnership with ZICA. It just wouldn't be happening. It's been a wonderful, collaboration. So I just want to give a lot of props there that we've got a good team here. But so this is the model for Malcolm zydec, and this is, Stefan went in and painted him up according to my specific color specifications, and of course he looks great. So we're getting him printed, and then we'll have him painted so you can see him in photo shoots and stuff like that. But this guy's my all-time favorite. I've had this figure in my head for a very, very, very long time, before there even were, undead operators or any of that type of stuff. Stephen King, who I'm not a huge fan of, not endorsing Stephen King, but if you ever read his books, there was a recurring character called Flag, who was usually a bad guy. And Stephen King, I read one place sometime, he said, that character's been with me forever, so I put him in all kinds of stuff. That's kind of who Malcolm is for me. He's been with me, since I was 21 or something like that. But this guy is the head of all undead operators. This is the guy that cultivates everyone. This is the guy that independently trains almost all of them. Nobody becomes an undead operator unless Malcolm Zydec says, hey, you're in the squad, here's your territory, etc. He's not technically on the Easy Kill 9 squad, but he is the leader of, all squads. So this is kind of our, our general, if you will, of the whole group. And I also, one of my very favorite designs, if you want to talk about slim, straightforward, iconic, this guy's got just the standard sort of paramilitary helmet with the crack that you kind of see that's painted in on the top there. It's a little bit in shadow. It mirrors the dent in the skull on the Easy Kill 9 logo, right? And also, this guy's one of the only guys that has any identifying marks on him, because if you look on his backpack, he actually has the skull kind of emblazoned into this guy's such a ghost, and he's so good that he's one of the few that was like, I don't care if I'm wearing a logo, no one's ever going to find me. So he comes with a broadsword and a mace. That's what he uses. This guy doesn't fire guns or anything like that. And this guy can be a slayer. This guy can be any of the 4 different factions. He's got kind of the gray silver sash that goes across and comes down onto his, his hip bone there. He's got a little bit of a shoulder pauldron. And when we look at the card art that I think we're going to look at, you'll see that stuff a little bit more. It's hard to do a shoulder pauldron in an O-ring. Yeah. So you see a little bit more of like a Romanesque or an old kind of French battalion pauldron going. So this guy has a really timeless kind of classic look. I want him to kind of be like the universal soldier, a little bit out of time, but still modern. He's head to toe crimson, right? And that's very symbolic of the work they do in terms of just kind of shredding all these lurkers and all these vampires and stuff. So yeah, this is our head lead guy.
Like Deadpool. Good thing I wore my red pants.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
I love the fact that his pants are bloused over his boots and not in his boots. I think that really kind of solidifies his look.
I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. One of my all-time favorite O-rings is Wild Weasel. And he had a little bit of that sort of thing going on with his pants. Yeah. And I just loved it. I loved the skull, on Wild Weasel. And a little bit of him has come in here because I thought, man, if I'm going to do a guy head to toe in red, I'm going to give a little nod and a wink to some Wild Weasel, So there's a little bit of that in there. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. It's one of my favorite design features too.
I guess Will was just typing that out as I said it. See, great minds think alike, man. Let me go back to a couple of these comments real quick. So V. Conley says the ability to have options in the community is what's really outstanding. Yeah, absolutely. Yojo Jerk is here. What's up, dude? And says great designs and colors.
Thanks, Jerk.
Thanks, you jerk. M. Vargo says that's a sharp looking figure.
Thank you.
George Aiken says he has a rock climbing vibe, but yeah, George, if you actually look at it there, it's a sash. But see what you're getting at. World Made of Cardboard says a morning star and a long sword. Very nice.
Keeping it classy.
Yep, right. Keeping it real. Guinevere says face mask is dope. And then Rob Vegas is in the house. Yo, Joe, man, what's up, dude? And Wilhelm said, yes, I was just going to say Wild Weasel. Pericles says, I was thinking Crimson Guard. Yeah, I could see some Crimson Guard vibes in that too. And then Will says, I love it. His mace and sword, he's so kick-ass.
The sword actually sheathes into the backpack, which is one of the fun little play
right,
features.
Which is right there in the top corner. Yeah. Love it, man. I love it. I love it. Where are we at with slides? You know what I'm going to do real quick? And then we're going to get into Craig. So I think we're going to back up. So I'm going to, look at that. Yes, no mention of red shadows. You know what? I was thinking, Chad, this guy has like a red shadows feel.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
What? He's totally Red Shadows. George and I agree. He's very Red Shadows.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I could see using him for some Red Shadows for sure. Absolutely. I want to play this sizzle reel real quick for everybody to check it out. Remember how I was saying how stuff freezes?
Cool.
Take two. Awesome. That's a great sizzle reel, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a video
I'm
producer by day, so
I'm hyped. Well, I mean, you made my intro.
I did make
And
your
you
intro.
made all my logos too.
Yeah, and look at all the money. Like I've taken your channel to superstardom. You know?
Yeah. You did. You sure did. Yeah, you made all my logos, even when I rebranded. Yep.
It's been fun, dude. It's been a lot of fun.
Yojo Jerk says that's very sizzly.
Very
sizzly. And then you got a whoop and nice. Yeah, man. That sizzle reel is freaking fantastic. So anywho, we're gonna move on here real quick. So before we get into Kickstarter stuff, I kind of want to let Craig talk to everyone in the chat as far as articulation, points of articulation, sculpt, anything that Craig really wants to talk on. I'm just going to give Craig the floor. So, sir, it's all you.
Okay. One thing I want to point out about these figures is that the materials that are used is actually a combination of ABS and PVC. And actually, there's more PVC on these than ABS. The torso pieces and pelvis pieces are ABS, just like the original G.I. Joes. But everything else is made of PVC that's in different durometers or hardnesses. The hands are like a soft PVC, so they'll be able to grip the weapons fairly tight. There's no worry about broken thumbs, stuff like that. There's no metal rivets used on these. It'll be like plastic pins for the shoulder joints, and then the elbow joint is actually designed where the pin is part of the joint itself, so it just like snaps on. So no rivets. They do use the metal T-hook bars, but it is a system to where instead of the upper legs being screwed together, since they're PVC, they're just one piece. They don't screw together like two halves. So the balls on these metal T-hooks are actually a larger size ball, where the legs will work on a ball and socket type design. So, and one thing about PVC too is it allows you to get away with a little more detail. You can get away with some of the, like one problem with ABS is undercuts. PVC is a little bit more forgiving. So like these heads, they'll be made out of PVC. So any concerns about, at the factory with some of the little parts that may present an undercut issue, if these were ABS, that won't be there. So you're actually able to get a little bit more, not a lot, but a little bit more detail into some parts of these sculpts because it's using a PVC material. So, and the wrists do turn. They, like we had mentioned before, they're articulated. The heads pop off of the neck, which I know a lot of these other lines, I believe that's the technique they're using as well. So the heads will pop off if you want to swap heads in and out on the bigger stuff. But they do, like, they go together. The two torso pieces go together with the metal screw, just like the original Joes and stuff. So we're trying to stick with the original aesthetic, but also make tiny improvements here and there if possible.
Right, and you're seeing that a lot throughout a lot of lines. So you guys are doing what a lot of other O-ring design lines are doing, where you're taking the basic older premise of O-ring design, but you're adding to it. You're adding wrist articulation and things like that. And here's a question for you from Jeff Morris: are the weapons going to be more rigid plastics since the hands will be more flexible?
Yeah, the hand or the weapons will either be ABS, or you can also you can have PVC in a hard enough durometer that it almost feels like ABS.
Right.
I mean, almost to the point where the only way it's going to flex is if you heat it up. If you don't heat it up, it's pretty rigid. So I don't know which material. I'll have to see. That's a question once I get to the factory level, but odds are it'll be ABS, but they will be rigid material.
Awesome. And Ted Darkless here. What's up, Ted? Ted from Hello Dope Toys. And if you guys, everybody hanging out in the chat, if you don't go over to Hello Dope Toys and watch their stream after this, that sucks for you because they're hella dope. And even though you're late, we still love you. And World Made of Cardboard says, I like the single piece thighs. So I don't know if you want to talk.
On a single piece thighs, they're easier to deal with. You don't have to worry about strip screws or anything like that. It's all one piece and just pops right onto that ball socket. So,
And I like that there's no.
I know. I guess people are familiar with these Strike Force Alpha figures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they use a ball and socket design on their upper legs as well. It's all one piece. Same thing.
And Chad, what were you saying?
So just as a minor design note, I've never enjoyed the seam that runs down the middle of the thigh of the classic figures. As much as we can get rid of little seams and extra screws and things like that, as we say, we want these to totally feel, like vintage O-ring Joes, but we also want to use every bit of technology that improves on the actual structure of that toy, So yeah.
And real quick, Yojo Jerk says the head swap feature is a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. Without having to take the whole figure apart to get this head out because it's on that kind of a bar. And Chad, you were saying something that you wanted to talk about ankle articulation.
So we had like three main things tonight we want to put to the community. I think we already put one to bed, which is we're going to mold the weapons right on and not have them removable and stuff, which is really what I think is the best way. But the other two is, we'll get to the last one in a minute, which is when should we do this Kickstarter? It's basically ready to go, but what's the ideal time to do it? But the other one was, what do you guys think about like ankle rockers? What do you think if the foot could swivel a bit, like with 30, right? Is it important to have her foot swivel so she can do better trick poses on the board? It's obviously it's better for posability. I don't think it will add any bulkiness or weirdness, but I'm not sure. Craig and I talked about it. We said, yeah, we can do it. Should we do it? So I'm interested in the community's take on that. Do you want the feet to go up and down and rock a little bit? What do you think about the ankles?
Craig, what do you think from the actual physical construction perspective?
Personally, for these particular figures, I'm more on the side of not doing it, because I think aesthetically you want to try and stick to the vintage aesthetic as much as possible. And ankle articulation, depending on the design, sometimes it works well and looks okay, and sometimes it works well but it looks horrible. So I'm afraid on some of these, like for the female figure for 30, I'm afraid it could look a little clunky on figures like her. The guys have the combat boots and stuff, you could probably get it to work, but you do it with one, you have to do it with the others to be consistent. And I just think some of the designs that come down the pike could prove to be a little bit problematic in terms of how that would look aesthetically.
That's my concern too. I don't want to do anything that adds funkiness.
Yeah. And then in the comments, so Lawrence says yes. I skipped one. Scorched Earth says, if you want a classic O-ring throwback, then no. And then Beta Ray Bob says, for modern figures, I like the articulated ankles, but if you're going for the retro vibe, no ankle articulation. Matthew Matson says, no ankles on these figures. Mo says, if the ankle swivel does not make it so over time they won't stand, then okay. I don't need ankle swivel. And then George is saying good night. So good night, George. I know you're over in the UK. You got to go to bed.
Thanks, George.
World Made of Cardboard says, as a kid, I took my G.I. Joe figures apart all the time, the screws, the O-rings, and the delicate assembly process of holding it all together before the O-ring slips, and you got to start over. Yeah. And then Mike says, wrist is great with swivel. I am good with old school articulation. Yojo Jerk says, pass, go retro. World Made of Cardboard says, I love the updated construction. No ankle articulation is needed. So
that's a hard no from about 90% of the chat, which is
Roll Keeper, what's up? Says, I don't think they need them.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go.
Problem solved.
And I agree with exactly what Craig was talking about. So I have a lot, all these figures you see, they're all modern. All of these are modern figures. I only have a very few number of O-ring figures scattered throughout this room. But I have some modern figures that have great looking ankles with articulation. And then some of them have that weird ball where like the foot just kind of mashes into it and there's like a big gap in it. And I don't like it. I just aesthetically, I think it looks gross, but that's just me. But Craig, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head when specifically talking about 30, because, you know, she's a girl. Like Chad said, you know, she's supposed to look kind of demure, a little petite, and she's wearing slip-ons, and then you give her these big, bulky ankles, you know, she's going to have like big Beulah feet going on. So I don't know if those would really translate well.
All right. I think we have our answer. Thank you. Thank you. So helpful.
One thing I'd like to ask about the weapons. Are people opposed to if the figure has a sidearm, if that actually can be holstered and taken out?
Praetor, for example, has a sidearm on one thigh there.
Anybody in the chat, do you want the sidearms holsters? You want them removable? What do you think? Mo says, my modern figures that have good ankle articulation work well, but so many times the ankles grow weak and they fall over. Yeah, that's true. I think the articulation in the ankle of an O-ring will make them fragile. What about an articulated peg in the skateboard? One foot would be slightly above the board, but it may not stand out. Is that even doable? The skateboard's just kind of like a figure stand, right? In essence. Yeah. But yeah, everybody who's hanging out in the chat. So Craig's asking, like, do you want molded holsters? What do you want? Gaz says for 30 you could do like a Chuckles holster. You talking about a cross draw, like a chest rig kind of holster? V Conley says sidearms removable are cool. But yeah, I don't. That's kind of where we're living right there. I don't know. G.I. Joe rarely had working holsters. That's true. Beta Ray says molded holsters. Yojo says built-in holsters is good. Wilhelm says, I like sidearms that can go into the holsters. Mike says, sculpt the accessories in, don't need extras. Scorched Earth, removable sidearm would not be a deal breaker. Yellow Hell, what's up? Says, just joined, but please just make these as close to a real American hero G.I. Joe as possible. Holsters with removable stuff are too big and bulky at that scale. And then Gaz says, yep, don't do anniversary style holsters. World Made of Cardboard. Chuckles holster just looks so big on him. Roll Keeper says, most OG Joes didn't have holsters. So I think there's your answer, Craig.
Okay.
Just like that.
There's another line I'm working on that one of the characters does have a holster and a sidearm, so hopefully that one will be well received. So we'll see.
I do like the mindset, Chad, like you were saying earlier when we were talking specifically about Bludgeon. You know, he's got this stuff on him, but you're not bulking up the figure. You're not changing like the sight line of the actual figure. Whereas, you know, when you look at them from the side, when they're molded on, you know, they're not very thick. I said thick. Right? They still have a very slim appearance, and that's, you know, that's just the real American hero deal. And I think that if you want them to be able to fit in with, you know, Real American Hero and other lines like Operation Recall, Call Sign Longbow, Strike Force Alpha, things like that, it's probably the way to go. And I think these paint masters look great like that. And I mean, that's just me. And oh, look, Balake is here. What's up, Benjamin? Good to see you. But only an hour and 21 minutes late. That's cool. Don't worry about it.
You want to go to war, Balake?
Don't none of y'all be needed to go up in the club. Yeah, cool. All right. So, what do you guys want to get into now? The actual Kickstarter? You want to talk about that?
I was hoping Craig might take a moment and just talk about ZICA and retros, and because
Yes.
Craig I'm designing the line, you know, this is my IP, etc. But Craig and ZICA are really in a producer role here, so we have this very fun partnership, and ZICA will be running the campaign. But you'll notice on all of our card backs, there's this retros logo, and I thought maybe Craig might want to take a moment and talk about if he has, you know, plans beyond Easy Kill 9 for that line, sort of how it came to be, because I'm super interested in knowing more. And I imagine that this chat that seems very, very interested in O-ring figures might also want to know what's happening there with retros.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second though, Craig. So, Benjamin, I was just kidding, buddy. I don't care if you're here for 5 minutes. I'm just glad you're here. And World Made of Cardboard has a good point. Final Faction has made a few figures, right? That's that dollar store line, right? The Dollar General line. Final Faction has made a few figures with molded working holsters. The gun tends to fall out over time, especially if you play with the toys. So that actually is a good point. So, Craig, I'll give you the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, regarding the Retros brand is a brand that I've just come out with that will basically work the same way that Super 7 does with their Reaction brand, in that every IP they do that falls under that aesthetic comes with the Reaction brand. Same thing here. Any lines that I'm working on that use the O-ring design and the O-ring aesthetic will fall under this Retros brand. So that's what that is. And right now, other than Easy Kill 9, I'm working on 2 other O-ring lines that actually pretty far along on both of those. So I don't want to really get into any information with them right now, but it's I hope people like them. So one of them actually has kind of a combination military fantasy theme to it. So some people that if anybody's been following the stuff I've been posting on Instagram probably already know what that is. But if you like orcs and being mixed in with the military, you might like this line. So
awesome. I just put the link to ZICA Toys Facebook page in the chat. So anybody who's interested, please go check out ZICA Toys, and then from the Facebook you can find Instagram. And then Roll Keeper says, "Cool, more O-rings." Yeah, absolutely. World Made of Cardboard. Yes, I still play with my toys. Very cool. And then Wilhelm says, "Yeah, I like them already." And then yeah, Matt's got a point. What's the point of having toys if you don't play with them? You got to play with your toys, man. Very cool. And just because I'm gonna, so Undead Operator, which is Chad's kind of overarching line for Easy Kill 9. The tongue twister, man. Overarching line for Easy Kill 9. So anyway, I put the link to Undead Operator figures on Facebook. Very cool. And Craig, I gotta say, as soon as you said ABS and PVC, I was sold. I love the mixing of both of those durometers, like you were saying, like the hardnesses of plastic, because they help the figures hold up. And I really appreciate that you did that. Here's a question for you. Craig, any hints you can give about other O-ring lines?
Well, one of them is, like I said, if you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, you probably already know it's right now it's originally launched as a 6-inch line. I wasn't involved with that, but the company that's working on it, it's a 6-inch modern line of figures. And I approached them about the option of doing O-ring figures, and they were on board with that. So I went with that, and that's currently in development. Again, it's the one that mixes kind of your modern military and orcs and stuff like that. The other one is kind of a line that I'm doing something similar to, if anybody remembers the Adventure People that Fisher Price put out. Basically, Adventure People was something that any theme you could put under that, under Adventure People. They had, campers and spacemen and just anything. So that line is going to be called Pocket People, and that will encompass kind of just anything and everything. It could be space people, it could be military, it could be monsters, it could be anything. So I've got 2 figures currently in development for that line. So
Awesome.
That's what I got going on.
I got Adventure People right there. Got a bunch of Adventure People stuff. So here's a question for you, Craig, and it's from World Made of Cardboard. I'm concerned about the elbow design. A single snap-on elbow. Is it a stronger or more pliable material?
Well, again, the arms will be made of PVC, probably a harder durometer PVC. If anybody has bought one of the Riot Commando O-ring figures that my company made, those arms are all PVC on that figure. There's no ABS in those arms, and they went together with the same type of design that we're using for these figures. And as far as I know, I've heard of no issues with anything breaking or anything like that. So it shouldn't be a problem. They should be durable.
Awesome. Thank you. Very cool. And then Wilhelm says, retro sounds like fun. Destro's Des says, I think these look great. I'm excited for some new lines that's not Hasbro. Yes, I hear you there. And then Wilhelm says, yes. World Made of Cardboard says, I loved Adventure People. I still love Adventure People, dude. Beta Ray Bob says, I would love an O-ring Adventure People line. Scorched Earth is all about the civilians. World Made of Cardboard says, Pocket People sounds fantastic. Will says he can't wait. And World Made of Cardboard's talking about my cat. He's just like, he's super needy. Like, it's cool. He's a little baby, he gets lonely. And then Yellow Hell says, hell yeah, Pocket People sounds awesome. Always wanted something like that. I agree. Wilhelm says, I have those. They are great. Elbow sounds good. I'll have 50 of them. That's probably what he was going to say, right?
Good.
Yeah. Deep Sea Diver Adventure People was my favorite. Yep. Cool. All right. Chad, what do you want to get into now?
So if I can take a minute and Craig, you unmute and interrupt me when I say dumb things, to sort of frame what we're thinking about for the Kickstarter, because we want to ask you guys, when do you think, like, what's the optimum window to do this, right? For like a 28-day or a 30-day campaign, right? Craig, you okay if I give the number that we have in mind as a funding goal? Yeah, I think we're looking at about 18,000 to be funded. Okay. Now that's not 18,000 and you have all 4 figures. That's 18,000 and we've got 1 figure, right? Which the first one will almost certainly be Bludgeon, but we're also open on the order. I think the basic order we had was Bludgeon, 30, Praetor, Malcolm, zydec, right? And Craig, I'll let you talk about if there's 1 or 2 more figures in here in just a sec. But for Easy Kill 9, there'll be those 4 figures that we're offering up with a funding goal at 18,000, with the firm belief that we could hit that, like, possibly very easily, and maybe even like first 48 hours, right? Because we'd like to get this thing funded right away so that everyone's like, okay, it's funded now. Let's look at stretch goals and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the rough idea, right? 18,000 kind of per figure. We're funded at 18,000. You got yourself 1 figure. You got Bludgeon with all the accessories and all that type of stuff. And then we would go in 18,000 increments from there. And without getting too deep into the why of it, it has to do with paying for the tooling and all this type of stuff, right? With the Kickstarter being, let's not mistake what it is. You are backing an endeavor, for ZICA with Easy Kill 9, right? So we have to take this kind of like a figure at a time. And of course, also, let's say we got all 4 of them backed. You don't have to just get, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You could mix and match a bit. Oh, I want 2 of this, 2 of the other type of thing. I'm pretty sure that's something that we would definitely want to offer, right? Because there may be one figure that you just don't care about or something.
So right off the bat, I could back 10 Bludgeons.
Precisely. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
You'll be able to back as deep as you want. There just won't be multiple figures to give you unless we fund at 18,000 tiers all 4 figures, right? So you got to get into like $70,000 or something, which again, I totally believe we're going to do it. But then at 18,000, you would know, hey, this campaign's funded, like I can increase my back or whatever, let's go for the second one, etc.
Right.
That's the basic idea. What we wanted to know from you guys really was, are you ready? Joe Fest is over. We knew we wanted to wait till Joe Fest was over.
Yeah, which is smart. Yeah.
Yeah. We just had, who was that awesome ninja clan that just got funded? They're fantastic.
Legends of the Hidden Force.
Yeah. Legends of the Hidden Force. They did really, really good, especially in the past few days. They had a fantastic campaign. We want to do something very similar, right? Also O-Ring, also pretty retro, O-Ring ninjas type thing, right?
It was the 95 Ninja Commandos that G.I. Joe didn't put out. Most of them were, which is cool because that was like a serious, like deep cut throwback. Anybody who knew what that 95 G.I. Joe line was going to be automatically knew, like, oh, look, there's Ninja Commando Road Pig. Like, I thought they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, they threw their heart and soul into that. It was a fantastic campaign. So that's the big question for you guys. When should we do this? Our target was kind of mid-July to kick it off, but maybe somebody's like, no, you can't. You have to start the first week of August. We're here to say, do you guys see a wonderful window for this? I mean, we've got the paint masters. The models are modeled. This thing is ready. The card art is done. Speak for in Craig's place for just a moment. Craig has the factories lined up. He's done this before. He's got his homework. There's no gray area here. We're ready to push buttons and press print, right? What do you guys think? Is mid-July good? Do you have a better window? We're looking for any sort of consensus. We just wanted to put it out to you guys because we can just say, hey, we're doing it here. But maybe somebody says, no, you ought to do it, at this time. We want to be in the right slot. So we thought we'd put that out there to you guys.
Yeah. And it's kind of smart that you guys are having this conversation now, that you're getting it out to the public now, because I mean, Christmas is in 6 months,
right?
So it's actually smart to talk about this now versus October.
Right.
Then everybody's like, I gotta buy my kid that Red Ryder BB gun. So no.
Yeah.
I think we've only got
is mid-September. I think what we're looking at is mid-July to mid-September is probably when we have to press go on this thing.
Yeah. I've only gotten 2 comments so far. Yellow Hell said, I don't know if it's better to wait until after In the Navy. I haven't even heard of that one. Or if both Kickstarters can be supported simultaneously. Roll Keeper says, let me recover a little from Joe Fest. Beta Ray Bob says, I'm ready now, but can wait for a better time for you guys. And then Yellow Hell, that's a good question. Also, when would funds be deducted from our account? It's when Kickstarters end, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's how Kickstarter works. I like this one. Shut up and take my money.
You can just send it directly to my PayPal, bro. You can send me all your money. It's fine.
Be like, here you go. Here you go. So let's see. There's one. One, I don't know. One, let me recover. One, I'm ready now. One, shut up and take my money. World Made of Cardboard says, my comment is going to be useless, but I really don't know.
Okay.
Does anybody on Galaxy? A lot of pre-orders hitting September. The sooner, the better. Okay. Dad, you know what? That's actually
that's good. That's
true.
That
is true. Destro's Death said, I would say September after everyone's summer and summer vacations. Not much happening in the fall.
Okay.
It's kind of all over the place.
Does anybody hate mid-July? Say we launch it July 15th and it wrapped August 5th, and I haven't looked at the calendar. Obviously, we want it to end on like a Sunday night and this type of thing. But is anybody like, no, you absolutely can't do it then because Cosmo World is gone and all my money will be gone?
Look at this one.
There is that one Kickstarter going on now, though. Sometimes it's not good to overlap.
In the Navy one that was mentioned, Craig?
In the Navy.
I wonder when that ends. You might want to look at when that wraps. July 30th for 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, when does the gas lab end? Does anybody know?
I wouldn't know.
I don't know either.
Why would I know? I'm buying that stupid thing. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe we just look at in the Navy and oh, there it is right there. July 17th.
Okay. So third week of July could be go, 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 go.
Kind of sounds like that's looking like the sweet spot. How long can you run a Kickstarter for? Is there like a prescribed kind of window?
Now you can, I don't know the minimum. I think the minimum is even just like a week or something, but you can go, I know you can go 60 days. You might be able to go 90 or even like way past that. You can run them for a while, but I find about a 28 to 30 day window is the optimal. And now Craig's done, I can be quiet because Craig has actually had some successful toy Kickstarters. Craig, do you want to weigh in at all on how long you think it should run?
The rule of thumb has always been 30. That seems to be the best time frame to run these in. You go further than that, sometimes it can cause problems. But I always pick 30 days on the ones I've done in the past.
Cool.
Mike's gonna drive to Saginaw and give me money, bro. I'll be here all night, dude. Like I'll text you the address.
Are you in Saginaw, Michigan?
No, gosh, no. Oh, no. What? No, dude, I live in the Bahamas.
Bro.
Yes.
Don't ever bullshit a bullshit.
Yes, Chad. I'm in Saginaw, Michigan.
I could smell that through the screen. Anyway, real quick, speaking of awesome people, so my good Canadian friend, Master Temple, we don't call him Neil, we call him Master Temple. Neil's here, so thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, Neil.
Here's a question for you, Chad, Chad part 2. Who is the lady in the picture on screen? Now, you actually already mentioned her.
Yeah. So that's Vale. That's not what her card art is. I just finished her card art a couple days ago. I'm really happy with her card art. In fact, it might be on the Undead Op Figures page already. If not, it'll pop up in a day or two. I'm ready to show off the card art for her. So if we get to stretch goals, this is the first figure that I think you guys would really love. So this is Vale. She's our Black Maven on Easy Kill 9, and she's a werewolf lycanthrope specialist. She's basically a werewolf hunter. Yeah.
And she's freaking hot. Sorry.
Dude, she's bringing the sex. Yeah.
Craig like that. Yeah. I mean, she's drawn very well.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, so like on the figure, the mask will come off. So the mask can peg front or back. Her 2 weapons will peg into the back of her belt. She's got some fun play features as well. But I think she would just make a really striking and fun O-ring figure. I'm really looking forward to getting her modeled and stuff. Yeah.
You want me to get the ma'am to costume that?
I want the ma'am to costume all the things, all the things. Like this is Baroness 3.9. Like this is, soft.
She does look rad. I love the color scheme throughout her, where it's It's kind of muted, but it's striking at the same time. She looks great.
Thanks.
World Made of Cardboard says, I'm not really a modern toy collector, but I will need to at least pick up 30 for my daughter. Actually, they're not. I mean, they are modern, but they're not at the same time.
I love that comment. Thank you, World of Cardboard, for saying that. That's what I want from this line. I want something for everybody. You know, I just want, I want there to be things, my 10-year-old would love that. You know, I'm really trying to build in, you've got your sort of hardcore, almost horror-like elements. You've got your strong paramilitary elements. You've got Vale, who's a little bit sci-fi, almost Blade Runner-ish. You know, you've got 30s, like Girl on the Street. Yeah.
And then Lawrence says, Sag Nasty.
Stop it.
I thought you were in the Bahamas.
No, I am. Yeah, dude. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm on my yacht right now. See that light? See that light? That's a yacht light.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, totally not in a garage.
Oh no. No. We don't do garages.
I'm chilling in my toy yacht. Here's a question for you, smartass. Probably for you too, Craig. This is from my good brother Gaz, who is also a huge Megaforce fan. After the Kickstarter, hopefully successful, what's the goal? Make this a continuous line sold in shops?
I'll let Craig take that first.
Get it, Craig.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if the demand's there, you know, more the merrier. We'll sell them any place that wants them.
Just like Super 7's reaction. That's really cool. That would be that prevalent. Yeah, with retros, you know, across all the retros, really, because like that adventure people one, guys, I'm going to buy all that. That's crazy. If I'm speaking to it, yeah, you know, I'd really love it. This Undead Operator world has hundreds of good guys. You know, Easy Kill 9 is just this one faction. It's got hundreds of bad guys. There's a whole story arc, you know, that goes over decades, and as things change and as the virus mutates and as the Cleave does new things. We haven't even got into sort of like the demons and the demon hunter type stuff. Right. You know, I'm not even touching on all that stuff that's like deeper as you get into the mythos. So, yeah, but Gaz, dude, I want you to know, man, that Megaforce for me growing up was like those flying motorcycles, bro.
Delta Mark IV.
You know,
so I'm a full disclosure kind of guy, and I just have to say that maybe about 15 minutes into this stream, one of my mask figures fell off the shelf when I went over here to reach to set my arm and fell into my tea. And every time I take a drink, I'm concerned that I'm going to choke on Matt Tracker's helmet.
Spoon it out.
I'm just saying, because he's down in there.
Oh, God.
See him? He's down in there.
See him.
But he doesn't have his helmet on. Spectrum might kill me today. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. I'm a full disclosure kind of guy. But okay, so to kind of piggyback off Gaz's question, short-term and long-term goals, is one of the short-term goals to at least finish the rest of the 9 of the operators and some baddies, right?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Do this first one. And again, I haven't talked to Craig about how we might handle stretch goals, but if we get, and Craig, in just a second, please, I want to have you talk about the 1 or 2 figures that I think you're actually putting in this campaign that are not, you know, Easy Kill 9 figures. But as for stretch goals, I'm hoping we might get 1 or 2 more of the Easy Kill 9 figures funded. You know, we might fund all 4, and then maybe we get Vale, and then we get Hansel and Gretel, or, you know, so we can have an animal in the line as well, something like that. But then, yes, with the success of this, I think we would immediately start modeling, because all the character designs are done. All we need for a second campaign is models and paints, right? We'll already have that relationship with the factory. We'll already have, you know, all that stuff going. So yeah, definitely to get all the full Easy Kill 9 team, the 9 plus Malcolm Zydec, and several really cool bad guys that, again, that are already concepted that just need models and that type of thing. But Craig, do you want to talk about a couple of figures from?
Initially, I was thinking about possibly putting in the 2 figures I was talking about from the Pocket People line that I'm developing. That's still an option I might try, but you know, there's so many characters within this Easy Kill 9, series, that it might be better just to stick with that IP and see how many characters we can actually unlock. One thing about this Kickstarter, which we've already been talked about, like this there's $18,000 increments in between each figure, and if you'll notice that there's really no part sharing between these figures, and typically a lot of your Kickstarters you'll see where there is some part sharing to keep the tooling cost down. Well, with this particular line, there's really not, which that's why your increments have to be so high. But hopefully we can unlock the 4 that have we've shown, and then maybe get through some stretch goals of other characters that have been, like the female here, though. That's the goal. So
Love it.
probably just stick with the Easy Kill 9 IP on this. Hopefully keep that momentum going for that.
I think our funding thresholds though per figure are less than what a lot of the other recent O-ring lines have done, and that's not us cutting quality at all. That's just the fact that Craig has a great relationship with some wonderful people, and we've found a way to make that happen. Because I don't know if I can say for sure about Longbow, but I'm almost certain that Operation Recall was $25,000 to $30,000 per figure that they had to put in. So us going with 18,000, again, sacrificing no quality, these will be the very top quality, is I think one of the advantages of the campaign that we're putting together.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing about part sharing, like Craig was speaking to, is that yes, it does keep costs down, but not doing part sharing shows the faith that you guys have in this line, and also the dedication to kind of the quality of it. So yeah, it's 18,000 per, but all new molds each go, and I kind of like that personally. I know not everybody has the same financial means, but I'll back new molds every time. So that's just kind of where my head's at. And just because I had to, because this comment made me chuckle. Wow, Chad, you really take good care of your toy collection. What does Matt Tracker flavored tea taste like? Well, it tastes like plot contrivance because Spectrum can do anything. So that's what it tastes like. I just don't want to choke, man. And then Beta Ray Bob says, will there be part sharing with future waves? That's actually a good question.
There could be with the bad guys. Right, there definitely could be with some of these enemies, right? Especially if we're talking
Makes
about
sense.
rolling out hordes of zombies and things like that. If part sharing works, great. For the heroes themselves, for Easy Kill 9, each one of them is a very distinct design, meant to hit on a very distinct archetype and a very particular emotion. So I don't even want to think that way as a designer. That's the type of stuff where, we're asking the community to partner with us to get this campaign done and to kickstart it. So what I want to give you is I want to give you the real vision.
That's how you wind up with vanilla caramel snake eyes.
Yeah, I just there's no need for that on a line of 9 figures.
Hey, nobody got time for that. No.
Yeah. So I want these to be the real vision. So I'm not even thinking along those lines. But for the bad guys, absolutely. If we can part share and save costs, and you can army build different zombies and werewolves and stuff, totally. Yeah, for sure.
Well, especially with the construction of these figures, like you could make all new zombie types if you so chose. You get 10 and kit bash them and do whatever you want. And that's, to me, that's where the life of a line lives and breathes, is that you as the person who collects and displays all these dollies on your shelves, you can do whatever you want with them. Brian King, what's up, dude? Says, I hate being broke. I want them all. Start hunting your couch cushions, I guess. Ted's here. What's up, Ted? And then World Made of Cardboard says, we must save Chad. Someone get over there and fix him a new cup of tea with no choking hazards. I mean, it is the long mask, so it's kind of like the lifesaver with the little hole in it.
We had cadavers and he was wearing a cup, but Matt Tracker's in the cup. Yeah. So
kind of weird how that works out.
That's weird.
Anywho, so kind of have a warm, fuzzy end of July, third week of July, somewhere around there, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I'm going to look at dates 3rd and 4th week of July. Let's definitely get past, I think it was the 17th. Let's get past that. But we want to release this date soon. Now, Craig is really pulling the trigger on this. So,
Right.
I'll just get with him and say, hey, I kind of like this, whatever, but he's the man with the plan that's going to really make it happen. But for me, I'd like to see it sooner rather than later. Someone had a good insight. Oh, do this after September. I just have a feeling that's when you wait, then all of a sudden everyone else has got the same idea. You know what I'm saying? So I do think if we have a window end of July, early August, it might be time with everything ready to just seize on it. But we'll get with Craig, and we really love the feedback. Everyone, thank you so much. We'll consider it all and try to get a date out to you soon.
Dig it. Anything else you guys want to touch on regarding Kickstarter or anything like that?
I don't, for the Easy Kill 9 campaign, I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
Cool. Well, once again, so this is the ZICA Toys, and it's ZICA, not Zika. I made that mistake. Don't be like me. This is the ZICA Toys Facebook page, and again, I just put the link in the chat for everybody to go check it out, so you can go see what Craig's up to, all the awesome stuff that he's got coming down the pipe. Craig, do you want to touch on this anymore?
No, I think I'm good unless somebody else has a question. Nothing.
Punk with toys, yeah.
Yeah. Did I miss if you talked about cost of each figure? Chad, you want to reiterate that?
So we've talked about the funding goal, right? Like the $18,000 sort of like cost per figure. Craig, I'm not sure if you had sort of like a backing tier for like a single figure number. I'm not sure if we've dialed that in yet. Like if they're saying, hey, the minimum to back this one figure.
So is he kind of asking like cost per unit?
That's what it sounds like. Like if I just want to get one bludgeon,
this
like,
guy costs.
what do I back? Yeah. Do we have that number, Craig?
Well, based on the last quote I got from the factory, which was a little while ago, you're probably looking at between $20 and $25 per figure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which seems to be the average with these figures. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's either average or below the average. I got a couple figures that I picked up at Joe Fest. They're $40 a pop, and I'm talking like 4-inch figures. So I don't know. I mean, if you like them and you want them, that's just it is what it is. But a retro roamers got on late. Apologies. I'll take a look at this. Yeah, man, please do. At least watch the replay because we went pretty in depth into this line. And then Yellow Hell is asking, what did I miss about weapon articulation at the start? It wasn't really anything about weapon articulation, right? We just talked about the plastic they're made out of, etc. Anybody?
Yeah, I don't think we talked about weapon articulation. We did put out a question about whether or not like the knives and things strapped to thighs should be removable. And I think we landed on a hard no, just keep it sculpted in like the vintage stuff.
Craig, you're getting a lot of Action Jackson questions.
Yeah, me and the guy from White Elephant Toys both own the trademark for Action Jackson, and I'm working on a 12-inch figure of Action Jackson, but an O-ring Action Jackson is also on the drawing board. So
awesome.
That's awesome.
And it's not the Carl Weathers, it's the old Mego Action Jackson. Like somebody was asking about that.
Yep. Yeah, and then everybody's saying, yeah, that's a good price. That's a reasonable price. A is for Apple. What's up? Sorry I'm late, guys. Those Easy Kill 9 character designs look hella cool. Yeah, right? Freaking awesome. Cool. If anybody else has any other questions for Craig or Chad before we kind of wind down, ask them now. Ask away. And another thing that I would really like to see, I know there are a lot of other YouTubers hanging out, and I always appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I always try to hang out with all of you as well. Please invite these guys on your channel and talk about this stuff more. Like, let your audiences see this and decide if this is something they want to back, because I do. And I don't want everybody to like what I like, but I think people should at least be able to see it. Beta Ray Bob says, O-Ring Action Jackson would be awesome. And then World Made of Cardboard. I always had trouble saying Action Jackson. Action Jackson.
It's pronounced Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Action Damon. Yeah, very cool. And oh hey, Chad.
Oh hey.
There's your page right there.
Oh, look at that.
You want to talk about this? Or you just want me to throw up the link and be done with it?
So that's really me on Facebook. You know, if you follow me personally, my name on there is Malcolm Zydec, which of course is one of the characters from the line. My actual name's Chad. I'm a Chad like Chad. We're extra. Yeah. Chad, don't apologize. Yeah. But nope. This is sort of like the businessy or the brand page for Easy Kill 9 and the Undead Operator figures. So please go there. Please follow. I do put content up there pretty regularly, and it's going to come pretty hot and heavy over the next several weeks as we're getting into announcing the date for this campaign, stuff like that. So you definitely want to follow ZICA, not only for Easy Kill 9, but just because Craig's just doing amazing things there. And I have a feeling some really incredible things are going to start hitting in the months to come. But please also do follow. If you're interested, follow Undead Operator, comment, share it, smash like, stick it to the algorithm when you click it, the whole thing. But if you message me directly, it's me that you'll be talking to, and I'm a real person, and I'm happy to interact with you. I'll be doing more fun sizzle reels, and I'll be putting up more card art for a lot of the other characters that aren't even in this first wave, and really kind of fleshing out the line and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd love to have you like it over there and share stuff. That'd be just capital.
Gaz wants the Pontiac. So Yellow Hell, don't ever apologize for asking so many questions, because we always find throughout our lives that someone's going to ask a question that 30 people were thinking about asking. And it just takes that one person to ask the question. But Yellow Hell's question is, are we going to vote on the order of the figures? But it's this order, right? You already discussed that.
Actually, I want to know whatever. Actually, I want to know. I want to know what everyone thinks, because we're just a stab in the dark. Maybe everyone thinks 30 should go first. We want this thing funded, guys, and we want it funded the way you want it funded. So if people have strong feelings about the order, if we can, we can vote right here in the chat, or we can put up like an official vote somewhere or whatever. It makes no difference to me.
Yeah, because only my show is what matters, right? My show is the sounding board for everything in the universe.
Yeah. I just want it funded, So for me, they're all ready. I believe all four of them are going to get funded. But by all means, let's put them in the order that excites people. So sure, like we can talk about it right now. Or if someone says, "Hey, throw up a vote here," I can create a Google Doc vote or whatever and throw it on ZICA and on Undead Operators, whatever we want to do. But yeah, I'd really love to get feedback from the community about that. The order is, I think, important. So if you have an idea, throw it in the chat. Name them one at a time. You got Bludgeon, 30, Praetor, and MZ from Malcolm Zydec. Whatever order you think they got. The order I was thinking was, as you see here, Bludgeon, then 30, then Praetor, then Malcolm. But we're wide open. The campaign has not been built yet. 31st, you might be onto something.
So you had already talked about this. Gaz was a little tardy.
Gaz,
are you thinking about any media for Easy Kill 9? So I know you talked about this. Do you want to just kind of give him the cliff notes?
Only because it's Gaz. Now, if Hans Chow was here, and the fact that he's conspicuously absent is But anyway,
Yeah.
he'd be eating food. Gaz, yeah, real quick. Comic books for sure. And the first issue of the comic book will be a free digital download for anybody that backs the campaign. It's not done yet, but it has begun. It's going to be beautiful, like the card art and stuff
Aw.
that you saw here. So yeah, there's going to be a first issue comic that will go out yet before the end of this year to anybody that backs the campaign. And then there will be future issues of comics, but I have plans actually for quite a bit of other media to go along with this, but that's a little bit removed out yet. I mean, actually I have plans for like an animated cartoon and all kinds of stuff, because I really think the line has that much, potential, but comics at the very least.
Oh, he was asking for Hans, so.
I knew you were. No, I knew you were. That's why I said Hans.
Stupid.
I'm on my yacht in the Bahamas, but I still know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. We already talked about that. World Made of Cardboard says, with 30 being a standout figure for me, having her first might not get the others funded.
Oh.
And then Father Son Galaxy says, Praetor would be more likely to buy multiples. See, I want 1 million bludgeons, so it's going to be death by 1,000 cuts here. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. I like the order you have them in, but I'm all in on all 4.
Nice.
That's where I'm living. So I don't know, maybe polls, because I think you're going to get the gamut.
Yeah.
You're going to get 1 million people with 200,000 answers.
Yeah. I'll make a poll and we'll see if there's any sort of consensus, but I think you're right. It might just kind of all land nowhere. The prevailing thought that I think Craig had when I first talked to Craig about it was he's like, do an army builder first, right? So people, if they want to back it 8 figures, they're going, if only one, God forbid, should get funded, they're going to get 8 army builders, right? Hooah, wonderful. 30 is a little bit more of a specialty, but I think people really want her. So I wanted to put her second or third. So we just blow right through the funding goal and we get right into, that second figure. And then Malcolm Zydec just seems sort of like the pinnacle. So we put him last, hoping that people would just, really want to reach for him and have that all right.
Like drive it home all the way to him.
Right. Yeah. So that was the thinking.
And as it goes along, you're going to show like the designs and the concept art of these other designs, right? Like the zombies and the lady vampire you were talking about.
Yep.
It's a lady vampire.
Yeah. It'll be 30 full days of content. There'll be something new like every other day on the campaign to keep it live and keep it fresh. We've got deep archives already of art and stuff that's been done.
Oh, I've seen a ton of it. So I think it's all awesome. World Made of Cardboard, that funding plan sounds good to me. So I think you guys you're dialing it into a real good place.
All right.
I love it. I'm all for it. What else you gentlemen got? What else you got for me, for the community, for all them people?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out to the stream. I know you just come to see Chad. He's so handsome. You're hoping to catch a glimpse of the ma'am. She's shooting bullets in the desert, but she'll be back. You know what I'm saying? She's a regular. But thank you very much for coming out. I'm really pleased with all the positive comments. It seems like you guys are vibing with this thing. And of course, that makes me very happy. I'm sure it makes Craig very happy. He did steal quite a bit of my thunder with his like underwater action people O-ring thing. Pretty sure I said, just make this all about me, Craig. We'll have to talk about it, Craig.
My bad.
No, it's been great. Chad, it's always a pleasure to interact with you. I'm finally on your stream. So that, like life goals, dude. That was
Get out of here with that, man.
I got to meet your cat.
Yeah, one of them. World Made of Cardboard says, have fun on your yacht, dude.
It's not a real yacht. No.
Is it like a small fishing boat?
It's if I close my eyes and I ask Alexa to play the sound of water, don't do it. Then it's almost a yacht.
Do you have one of those things?
She's in the corner watching me, dude. Yeah, she's here.
Did you see that shit about lawsuits because of like it listening and doing all sorts of weird stuff?
Oh, she do some weird stuff, but I need her to remind me of everything that I do every half an hour. Like I've got reminders 3 weeks deep of stuff that I'll totally forget to do if she doesn't try me.
You don't need Skynet living, man.
I know. There's no escaping it, bro. Your phone's doing the same thing. Don't think it ain't.
Oh, trust me, I know, because the ma'am and I will be having a conversation about something wacky, like, you know, she has this love for My Little Pony.
Mhm.
I know some people know that. And then I'll scroll through some shit on my phone, and I'm like, why am I looking at My Little Pony?
Yeah.
Like, Skynet's listening. Anyway, so Beta Ray Bob says, great conversation, guys. Glad this is getting another Kickstarter. I am too. I really am. I'm glad. When you and I talked about you were going to bring it back, I was glad that you did. So.
We're going to get it done this time. Thanks to all you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're
No, just I'm kidding. Craig, what do you got? Closing thoughts, my man.
Well, thanks for having me, definitely. And hopefully, you know, we'll take all these suggestions, go with it, and see if we can get a successful Kickstarter funded.
Craig, are you good to show up on other people's streams?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
Team player, that's what I'm talking about. And then Yellow Hell says, yeah, this is exciting. World Made of Cardboard said, you made your flag seaworthy and are floating in the Bahamas.
That's how you do it.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. Well, I want to thank you for coming. And again, to everyone hanging out in the stream, thank you for being here. Thank you for interacting, for asking these two fine gentlemen questions, for giving them your input to help them kind of dial in the line, the Kickstarter, what people want to see, because it's about dollies and world building and lore. And look at this guy. He's just flopping around. But these two gentlemen, they really want to give people what they want and not just put stuff out. So
yeah.
I can't thank you guys enough in the chat for giving them your feedback and just interacting, because you guys are the ones that make this fun. Thank you very much, World Made of Cardboard. You're an awesome dude. And Gaz says, a cool line, gents. I really hope it does well.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. And again, everybody who's still hanging out in the chat, please, if you have a channel and this is something that sparks your interest, invite these two guys on. Reach out to Chad, reach out to Craig, and you know, help them get the word out, because they could really use it. And that's what this freaking community of dolly collectors is all about. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you again for hanging out with me and Skidmark.
Thank you.
And my crazy little cat.
Don't swallow that helmet.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to. I'm going to see if my outro actually plays. Let's see if it goes. Ready? Yo, Joe, have a good night.
Yo, Joe.
I knew it. I knew it wasn't going to play. Here we go.